December 15th. A Story According to Ginger, Part 1. There can be no better pilot than me. I'm proving it right now, up here in the sky, doing what I do best. Flying my craft. I've knocked up 75 kills. I'm the hero of the squadron. People look up to me. Literally at the moment, seeing as I'm a good 100 feet above people's heads. You see, it only takes a good pilot to be able to fly this low, as I swoop down. But there's another reason. At a lower altitude, you can see their adoring faces, their oohs and their ahs, though you can't hear them. I'm out here on my own. It started off as a group show, with others of my squadron in the air, recreating the battle that made me famous. I am a celebrity now. It was 4-1. I should have been dead, facing up to the best pilots that the Bosch could throw at me, but I came away alive. And now that I've not killed my best friends, the best we had to throw at the enemy, it is time for me to fly solo, to prove my worth. I am adored and loved. This is the best that I can give them. But I don't want to get too big-headed. Besides, I'm running out of fuel, so I'm coming in now. I've landed, but waiting for the aircraft to slow down. I can see the crowd running towards me. I stop as they approach the camel. I get out, though I can't climb down, as there are too many of them. Instead, I'm on them as they carry me away, chanting my name, Ginger, Ginger, Ginger. Ginger's my name. They know who I am. Of course they know who I am. I'm currently the most famous man in Britain. I will always be the most famous man in Britain. Me, who fought so famously in the Great War. There can never be a war so horrid as the Great War. Therefore, I will always be a national hero. Me, Ginger Jeeves. They know that as much as I know that. And they love me. They adore me. What can I do to stop it? I walk now into a room, into a big room if big comes to describe it. It's a sort of room occupied by someone who thinks very highly of himself. As it happens, the plaque on the door says Flight Lieutenant Johnson, but a sense of glory has washed over me now. I want this room. And as I come into this room wanting it, I begin to look around, noticing it properly. I've only been in here a few times before, now that I've been relocated back in Britain, but I want it now. There are big windows at the other end of the room to let as much light in and show off as much as possible of the room. That is, as far as the light can reach. There is not much in this room, only a few pictures around the walls and a big table just in front of the windows. That will change. I'll put up my own pictures. I'll place memorabilia around the room to remind me of my glories. I don't need much reminding, but they'll be there. The journey to the table is the kind of journey that for anyone not particularly wanting to be there, they'll have plenty of time to regret their presence. The journey for others will become a trip down memory lane, my memory lane, seeing pictures of my first aircraft. There are still pieces of them somewhere. I can have them placed here. In this room. I'll have a secretary in this room. A nice sexy one. You don't get too many female ones in the forces, but I'll have one. A sexy one. And she'll be the envy of every female in the country. The secretary to the most famous man in the country who is not the king. King Ginger. Nice. There is a man sitting at the table. He is wearing an officer's uniform with lots of medals. So many that they jangle as he moves. He is Flight Lieutenant Johnson. Time to open my mouth. I speak. Spiffing bit of flying there, don't you think, sir? I remain standing. There isn't too much choice as a flight lieutenant is sitting on the only chair in the room, soon to be mine. There are rumours that he will resign soon now that the Great War has ended. Says the flight lieutenant. What ho, Jeeves? Spiffing flying, you say? Yes, well, try shooting down the Bosch next time, what? El Flighty speaks with a big booming voice that you would normally associate with a man of his rank and size. Poor man, though. Career man like me, but not prepared for the stress and agony of the last 4 years. Excellent service record before that, though. I reply, Jerry's? But the blasted war bally well ended a month ago, sir. No time to humour the poor confused bastard. Ah, yes. Damn shame, don't you think? Now then, what do you jolly well want, Me, sir? Well, I'm here on your request about my holiday leave, sir. Damn well needed as well, sir, and I plan to take it. There's a glint now in his eyes, a strange one. His eyes narrow as if he is planning something, yet his whole body moves back as if it has been taken surprise by something. A holiday? At this time? What the bleeding hell are you thinking of, Jeeves? I booked it ages ago, of course. Years ago. I'm a career man, unlike many of the other pilots. In fact, I don't think there is a single other pilot in his squadron now who joined before the war. But I booked my leave for the first Christmas after the war. 2 weeks off, and the first summer as well. A month in total. I could be like many of the others, quit the force and go back to their old jobs, but this is my old job. And I intend to stay on. There's still plenty of work to do, and there'll always be need of an RAF now that we have an organised force. I'll work my way up through the ranks. One day, I will be sitting in that chair. He is a confused old chap, though. Can't handle a job. I would have thought now that the Great War is over, sanity would return, but it hasn't, yet. And so a reminder is needed. It's Christmas in 10 days, sir. I booked the time off. Check if you want. If that's not good enough for a holiday, then what jolly well is? After all, it is the season to be jolly well jolly, sir. The days of peace are still but fresh. Any risk of attack cannot be ruled out at such an early stage. I would like you to stay, just for this time. You are the best. I don't want to take any unnecessary chances. Best pilot, au naturel. Maybe sanity is returning. Good point, but... Sir, the Germans are disarming. They have practically no air force or even any weapons when it darn well comes to that. They don't have a pistol, let alone an air force. Yes, but these are still paranoid times. We must still be wary. What if the Americans were to attack? I cannot help but form a small smile on my face at this. He just about knew who he was fighting against. He didn't even know who we were fighting with. Not that they really provided us with much help. Good chaps, though. Really knew how to throw a party. But sir, the Americans were on our side, remember? Aliens? I have no idea if he's being serious or not right now. But I burst out into laughter. A right-in-your-face kind of laughter. They don't even exist, sir! Technically, all invading forces are aliens. But I presume he's talking about the outer space kind. The kind that you read about in all those poor children's stories. The kind that you can see at the cinema. Probably saw a film with aliens and thought it was a newsreel. But cinema, now there's an idea. Maybe I'll sell the rights of my story to Hollywood. Turn me into a millionaire overnight. Make me incredibly famous. But I'd need somebody to play me. Who? It would have to be someone heroic. Douglas Fairbanks seems like a good choice. Maybe I could go for a surprise casting and get Chaplin to play me. Wouldn't work though, I'm not that clumsy. Besides, with the level of resentment towards him at the moment for not fighting for his country, that would not be a wise casting. That bloke who played Tarzan, Lincoln I think. He's nice and muscular, looks fantastic. But about twice the size of me. £200. I'd like to see him get airborne. It would have to be me playing me. Well, beggars can't be choosers. The flight lieutenant cuts off my thoughts, bringing me back on track. How do you know? Have you ever seen them? He suddenly has a very weird glint in his eye. He's moved forward, and he whispered the last word. I think he knows something I don't. Not hard, though, with his mind. I'm sure the pixies tell him all sorts. Just the force of the stare makes me slow down, and I become much more serious. I have to place my words calmly, purely in order to try and get what I have to say to sink in. Of course I haven't seen one. Otherwise I would believe in them. And even if they did exist, how would they get here? By Sop with Camel? I think not. Jolly well possible. They're aliens. They can do anything. Mad. Simple as. Very well isn't possible. I start getting more aggressive now, and I try and bring the point back towards home. Well, here's another darn good reason for my leave. There's no war on now, sir. Having been alive for the entire 4 years, I think I jolly well deserve it, don't you? There's a pause. He just stares at me. I stare back. But at times, it feels like he almost slips out of my view before I haul him back in. He digs out a diary. He was the one that called me in here, just for this pointless exercise. But he takes one final, bitter act of vengeance. He crosses off 4 days in the diary. Oh, all right then. You get 10 days starting from the 23rd. But if the aliens attack in that time, then it's all your fault. 10 days. I've got 14, and I'm taking 14. It's not like he can chuck me out of the Air Force or anything. I'm too well respected. The nation would kill him. Thank you, sir. You're so kind. I smile. It's intentionally overplayed. Oh, and just one more thing. Yes, old bean. My crate, sir. It's got a bit of a problem that needs to be sorted. Awfully quickly does it need sorting. I smile again through forced aggression. He only really serves one function these days, and that's certainly not to order us about. Might just as well abuse his services for everything I can get. Can it wait until you're off on leave? He seems tired of me now. Tired of my presence. As long as the aliens don't attack, sir. I can't believe it. I'm sinking to his level. I'm actually humouring the bastard, going along with one of his jokes. I presume it's a joke. I bloody well hope it's a joke. But I'm going along with it. Why? The plane I've got at the moment is a dump. I need something sportier, more manoeuvrable. I can't do fuck with what I've got at the moment. There, see, what did I tell you? They do exist. No, he actually looks like he means it. That's the problem with men like the flight lieutenant. Too much money. So many posh schools. So little room for education to filter in. Too much money. I was joking. I have to say this as stern-faced as I can possibly manage. Slightest hint of humour on my face, and he'll be off for hours. Now, back to my crate. We'll see. What's the problem then? He's gone back to his paperwork, no longer really paying much attention. Well, sir, it's a bit technical. A matter to go through with the mechanics. Shouldn't require much. Just the tightening of the nuts and bolts. I'd do it myself, but we've got to give the mechanics something to do. I smile again. Bollocks. It's a shit plane. And I want something newer, faster, better. I keep dropping hints like this to the old fool. I'm the fool for even bothering. It'd be better just to tell him straight off. I want a new aircraft! Flighty continues going over his paperwork. Wings loose again? Well, what's the problem with that? You'll still have a set of wings underneath, won't you? I can't do that. I start to laugh. You must be mad. You'd get nowhere. Even if you did get into the air, you'd crash. There are planes that only have one set of wings. I've seen them. Monoplanes, I think you'll find they're called. Cunt. He's right, of course. I just expected him to say something stupid, and reacted immediately without even bothering to stop to think. I have my reply, though. He is not getting away with that. Yes, but a sop with camel with one set of wings? It won't work, sir. Impossible. Suddenly, it all becomes hopeless, pointless, a bleak existence staring at me. I'm switching off now. I can't be bothered. Well, if you're sure. Respond. Yes, sir. Well, I'll just have to see what I can do about it. Anything else? No, sir. Tally-ho then, Jeeves. Tally-ho, sir. I don't bother to salute. There's not too much point, as it's fairly unlikely that Johnson would notice anyway. This is proved by the fact that I've also swiped the pen he was using. It's sitting here, in my pocket. I did it right in front of him. But as I leave, I can't help but notice that he's still sitting at his desk, looking around for it. Out of the corner of my eye, the very last thing I see him do is scratch his head. He scratched his head, for fuck's sake. Only Charlie Chaplin does that, for Christ's sake. The sooner he leaves, the better. I make eye contact and stare out the officer at the desk outside of the flight lieutenant's room. Freak. I've left the building now, and I climb into my Model T Ford. Good, sturdy car this. Except for in the cold weather like this, and it's being a real ass to start. After 5 minutes, I'm out of it, kicking it and shouting at it. I only stop when I really start to hurt my foot. Eventually, I manage to get it going, and I leave Dawes Hill. I'm going into town, and I don't know why I bothered to even get the car started. It's downhill all the way. I could have rolled it down. Toboggan down even. It's snowy enough. I'm going down to High Wycombe. Down to High Wycombe. There's a contradiction in that statement, but it's the truth. The town itself is a bloody contradiction. It's called High Wycombe, and yet it lies at the very bottom of a valley. At either side of the outskirts of the town are hills, forming the Vales. One leads to Marlow, the other leads to Amersham. Both roads at least a mile long in length before they reach the top. Neither of those have High in front of them. High Wycombe, and it lies at the bottom of a bloody valley. It's just a joke. The whole bloody town is a joke. I never chose to live here. I would never be that bloody stupid. I come from Bridgend, in South Wales, and I was stationed there at first. At least they have no bloody pretensions about the valleys. Then the war broke out, and I was moved to France, fighting for king and country. Then, when the war finished, I was relocated again, back here, High bloody Wycombe. Although the war has finished, London is still deemed an area that needs protecting. I'm 30 odd miles out, but that's close enough for me. I know how much London stinks. Now I'm fighting for king and country, in his bloody country, yet there's nothing to fight against. And I'm stuck here, in High Wycombe. Get me out. I reach the pub I've started to frequent, the Wendover Arms. It's just out of town, but that doesn't bother me because it's close to where Deirdre, my girlfriend, lives at 167 Deeds Grove. Tidy little area, bit newer than other parts, which can be quite dangerous at times. I've learnt that lesson before. As I go in, I can see straight away that Connor is in there. Sound chap. Trusted him with my life a few times, but I don't go over immediately. More important matters first. I get to the bar and order a beer. The Irish really do make the best beers. I've said that a few times too. By this time, Connor has seen me and is making space for me. I sit down, I pick up the glass, looking around the mess hall. Out of the window at a small army. The small army is preparing itself. Indeed it is. The troops are picking up their weapons, checking everything is in full working order. They are lining up outside in the trenches. There is silence where the bombardment has stopped. There is some hope that maybe the war, too, has stopped. But these are the stupid people. The ones not crushed by the life the war has provided. The others are just delirious, their bodies having gone through more than should ever have been allowed. The whistles floating over the trenches destroy any last hope. This is the life they chose. Now they have to face the consequences. The captain picks up his whistle. He too blows, carrying the signal further down the line. They go up the ladders. They're all completely disorientated at a completely different angle, and they stumble and fall towards where the enemy is. Not much harm may occur this time, but after time it will. And so Connor finishes his story, but my own personal Irish army is on its way to destroy my kidneys, and I realise just how tired I actually am. Looking out of the window, I can see all this. I leave the mess, walking across the parade ground of the Wendover Arms? No? And catch the elevator. But the lift I'm in contains two other people. One of them is Mrs. Isnot, my old Welsh teacher at school, already in there, and the other is Sebastian and Sebastian. Well, actually, it's Victor, but it's not, who got in with me. The door closes as we start to go down the floor. We hit the ceiling with a sinking feeling in the stomach as the floor falls away from us. We are only going a floor down, a matter of feet, yet the lift falls for at least 30 seconds. When it stops, we get out and go in to find out why we were cooled down. I can't see clearly, but I don't notice that. Sebastian and Sebastian does most of the talking, leaving me to sit there and absorb the information. Whatever it is. I don't know what it is. I will know when it needs to be known, but at the moment, it's senseless and unintelligible. I don't know how long we were in there for, but we were back out a few seconds later. Corridors. Which way to go? Could easily get lost in here, and no doubt we will. There's another lift. We go up, being flat into the floor in the ascent, before hitting the ceiling in the descent. More corridors. Just long, plain, endless, square corridors. I can't see very clearly, but I don't notice that part. We are going down the corridors. We get out. Sebastian and Sebastian has a motorbike. I don't. We zoom along the world I'm in until we get to where we need to go. Of course, we need to kidnap the girl. It is you, Holly. My companion and friend. You've already been kidnapped, though. But we need to save you, so we kidnap you back. A counter-kidnap. We are the good guys. We have the sense of justice here. Sebastian and Sebastian has got you on the back of his motorbike and is leaving. The bad guys are jumping on the back of a bicycle and are in hot pursuit, easily keeping up with Sebastian and Sebastian. I dawdle a bit, unsure of what to do. I decide to follow. I can't, after all, just leave you. I, too, jump on a bicycle and pursue, but I can't keep up. I don't have the power. I can see them fading into the distance, and I can't keep up. All I can hear now is the sound of a motorbike. It matters not too much. I can see an aerial view of the town, but I can't see them. By the sound of a motorbike, I can guess where they are going, but I can't see them. So I go there. I got it wrong. I'm not going to see them ever again. I'm stuck here. What can I do? I can still see the aerial view, but the town is too hilly, stuck here in the valleys. I have no power to get anywhere. I'm never going to see them again. I reach a higher state of consciousness. I can get back to the base where Sebastian and Sebastian will be. But how do I do that? I leave, and I come back. I wake. I am yet to have a first gulp of my beer. The first taste is always the best, with its promises of what is to come later. And that's it. This trip down the pub is as unexciting as exciting isn't. I can see them dying to talk about my business earlier. I can tell by the glances they keep giving me. They must want to save me the embarrassment. I won't get embarrassed, guys. They seem to be talking in some kind of a code, because I can't understand what it is that they're saying at times.